Hi guys, and welcome back to part 7 of the Kingdoms of Abalor Reckoning. Well, you've still got that codex on you that needs to be read, so you're gonna have to pay a visit to the High King. Let's see if you can stay out of trouble on the way.
While the shaper brushed the plains with hills and wheat, and the carver moulded the deserts with a careful, measured hand, the third of the Majestics stood from the earthen cradle and beheld the glories of their work. He was the architect and carried in his mind a dream, the form of growth, a design shaped in nature, a place of wild abundance in harmony.
You return, and in your wake, Dalentarth blossoms. The flow is rearranged, now and forever. Nash's brood is at an end. You have destroyed what was written, and made a new fate for Dalentarth. Even your darkest ally walks a lighter path. And yet the Tuatha still spread, marching with Prismere and pain. You have only delayed our doom. I have already given you much. Now you must learn what you have received. You must know this, Quickling. The age is changing. Immortals are passing, and the future belongs to the young races. If there is a future to be had. Go, and stand at the heart of the She. There you will find Isa, and perhaps you will find wisdom as well. Nash and her brood would have spread across Dalentarth and brought the taint of Prismir with them. So it forever was to be, until you set about to stop it. I am as world trees have ever been since the dawn of time. I watch, I understand, and I remember. To creatures of flesh like yourself, Prismir is a powerful tool to harness magic. But to creatures of pure magic, like Tuatha or trolls, Prismir is so much more. To them, it is a curse, a blessing, and a rapture all in one. It drives them and consumes them. And to the weak-willed, it corrupts them utterly. I can no longer ignore the quicklings like your kind, who rush through the world, ever anxious, ever eager, ever evolving, but never changing. Fools who hack at my roots and burn. And sometimes sages who hang from my branches and learn. The last great Fey city, at once the birth of their dream, the throne of their great realm, and the deathbed of their kind. In thanks to High King Titarian, my boughs stand vigil over their city in their twilight. Only by my leave may visitors see them in their weakness. May your path be long and evergreen.
Welcome to the Gardens of Issa, home of the Summer Court, and the warm heart of the Feylands. It is a rare occasion for us to welcome a child of dust into Issa, but it is equally rare that Niralim chooses a champion. Pleased to meet you. I am Chancellor to the High King. I pray you enjoy our hospitality. High King Titarian is Lord of the Summerfey, the font of all our wisdom, and first amongst the immortals. And since Godflow tragically murdered the High King of the Winter Court, Titarian is the greatest and last true leader left of our kind. The sapling of the World Tree bears centuries of great wisdom. Of course, long-lived as Nirlam is, it is still regrettably mortal. Even all greatest mortal wisdom cannot compare to the perspective given by true agelessness. Begging your pardon, of course. We are the Summer Court, the very embodiments of courage, honor, and all things bright and proud. Some envious few in the Winter Court would call us arrogant and self-righteous, as well as all manner of other epithets. But remember, we are the ones who stayed true to tradition, while they turned to barbarism. The Tuatha find new recruits from our ranks. The ranks of the Fae were not always sullied by the presence of anything so coarse as the Tuatha. Once, the Summer and Winter Courts existed in harmony. But Godflow perverted the Winter Court with talk of his new god, and from that poison, the Tuatha arose. Too many mortals misunderstand the Winter Court. Our cold cousins are not evil, but merely evoke the darker truths of nature, from subtlety to decay. Perhaps it makes sense that children of dust are put off by those who embody their inevitable death, but it is regrettable that so many are misunderstood. Truly a place of wonder, as it has always been and always shall be. Here springs the life well of Dalentarth, and the greater Feylands in all directions. It is a pity that some of our kind have fallen to such degenerative states, but we cannot shed a tear for their weakness.
All are welcome in the understyle.
Immortal.
Your kind doesn't feel the desire to explore.
High King Titarian is waiting for you. Please place the codex before him, and he will continue.
It's been a long time since I've been here.
Conceived in chaos, birthed in stolen magic, torn from fate, child of two fathers, treacheries in treacheries, winter is broken. The puppet king upon his throne, drinking flattery and lies, The power that grows in him is not his own. In the east it did begin, as it will end. From behind the veil she screams, madness and rage. Madness and rage. We realize this may be confusing for you. Fate, like the Fae, cannot be changed. But the Tuatha are Fae who have become something new, and you are a mortal who is free from Fate's weave. Gadflow claims that the Tuatha are the work of his new god. If the Tuatha are the creations of a god, what does that make you? The power of a god in the brash hands of a mortal. This is why Niralim fears what you might become. This age has seen much change. Change we once thought was impossible. We were wrong. That is how I understand it now. You are intertwined with the power in Alabastra. There can be no doubt of that. We do not know what will happen when you travel there, but we know that the power behind Gadflow is your ultimate goal. His god holds your answer, and the fate of this world. Perhaps. Although you may choose your path now, you did not choose the ability to do so. We have seen those who were destined to be heroes, for whom great deeds came naturally. They come, they act, and they pass on as written. You do things, great or terrible things, not because you must, but because you choose to. Admirable. But strength of will cannot see you through this alone. You may be unbound by fate, but you are not free from death. Speak with your allies. Only with their aid can you hope to overcome the forces that stand against you. The weave is a puzzle. Each person is a piece. The edges of their fate locking together with the people around them, all performing their duties to form a grand picture. However, you are no longer a puzzle piece. You are a dollop of paint. You cover and redefine the edges of the puzzle pieces you meet. But more dangerously, you repaint the picture of reality itself. Who can trust that your design is better than the original? It is the deepest tragedy that our fall should come from our own. Make no mistake, Gadflow is the harbinger of the end of my kind. In fighting him and his army, you will surely spell our doom. For that tragic truth, we forgive you. We are the dreams of warmth and safety, given physical form. But these dreams are endangered by Gadflow and the long winter. Since our kind returned to this world so long ago, it has been my honor to serve as High King of the Summer Court. My rule was always shared with the High King of the Winter Court, until Gadflow arose. Now both of our people are in peril. The Summer and Winter Courts have always ruled the Feylands in harmony, as the seasons wash across the world. But with Gadflow's new god, something changed. The Winter Fae who followed him called themselves Tuatha, and bore a mark of Prismir upon them. Their power has grown, and yet they are diminished. our cold cousins across the sea. Do not think the Winter Court are enemies, for we love them as family, dismal though they may be. Oh, to walk in their starlit gardens once again, or sip their calming stone tea. But the Tuatha have consumed them, and all of their wonders are lost.
Who would have thought you were so interesting? Death seems to have worked out very well for you. Agarth's looking for escape, Neuralim's looking for a savior, and Tatarian is looking for a champion, and somehow, you're giving everyone what they want. I'm impressed. You're right. This won't be easy. The Tuatha have our forces under siege at Mel Senshir, and their power has only grown over the years. You'll need more help than just me and that old Fate Weaver. You'll need an army. A few years ago, one warrior could have slipped past unnoticed, but stealth is no longer an option, not even for me. But there is hope. In the plains of Erethel, there waits a player who has been away from this game for far too long. It is time to contact General Telera. Meet me in the village of Emer, and I will tell you everything. We are the charmed, the subtle, and the inspired. In happier days, we were the loftiest of the mortal races. We despise open war. But for decades, the Tuatha have been at war with us, pushing into our lands and forcing us to take up arms. Be on your way.
I couldn't make out half of what the king was saying, but it sounds like you've got your work cut out for you. Good thing you won't be facing it alone. In fact, I think I've got a lead on finding an old friend of ours. Old Fomorous Hughes, of course. If anybody can help, it's bound to be the gnome who brought you back to life. I've been asking around, and I was able to make contact with his superior. He thinks he might be able to help find Hughes. No, he's a crafty one. If he got away from those assassins in the lab, like you said, I'm sure he found someplace new to hide out. And if anyone's likely to know where he'd go to find safe haven, it'd be the Templar who sponsored his work. His name's Octien. Go southeast to the Hollowlands. Templar Octien will be waiting there to discuss how you might find Hughes.
Welcome.
There's a bed if you're stopping over, a tankard if you're thirsty, and a fire to warm by in the Golden Plains Inn. Always open.
Huh? What's this?
Greetings.
Just give me a straight answer. Is the general still in the cradle of summer?
Need a hand?
Cheers for it.
Hello, I'm Orca Tetran, village healer. You're new in Amer. I never forget a face. Are you with the refugees? They are sorry caravan. I, for one, believe their stories. Look what the Tuatha have done across the sea, and what they intend to do if they arrive here. Gods forbid. What would stop them from sending warriors to hunt us down by our very hearths? The Tuatha will not rest until they break us. That is why we must never let them. I've never met one so obsessed. He goes on and on about his life's work, as if other mortals will find his study of the Fae as fascinating as he does. You can usually find him holed up in his house across the way, but sometimes he spends time here with us in the tavern. I'm sure you've heard about how Amer is the birthplace of modern herbalism, a cradle of enchanted flora, a haven for the wildest reagents. Me, I don't care about that. I like the people. We get all sorts of interesting folk in here, like Oddwald the Scribe, like you. Nope, I'm never bored, not in Amer. Safe travels.
Thank you for coming all this way. I don't know if you heard that, but it sounds as if General Talera is still here, in exile. You're as quick as ever. Talera is in the cradle of summer, banished from the battlefields of Mel Senshir until she can atone for her past. According to the Fate Weaver here, she seeks an artifact from Ural Tusk that might break the siege and aid our forces. But she cannot do so alone, for poor Talera is fated never to succeed. That is where you can help. Last I heard, General Talera was somewhere in northern Arethel, searching for a way to turn the tide of the war. I think she took a squad to Urltusk. You should be just what the general's looking for.
Isn't it a glorious day, as if Helios himself warms us with a smile? To what do I owe this courtesy? I only have a few moments to spare. The godstorm awaits my return, and it doesn't like to wait. Farewell.
Welcome.
Hello there.
From the naked dirt sprang the Majestics, the firstborn of the wilds of Ashara. Around them, they heard the song and splendor of a wild future summer. And they responded. And the earth moved. The carver shaped, the architect built, and the shaper composed.
Be careful around the General.
Hail. I am General Talera ap Gwydion, former commander of the Eastern Alpha Forces. Surely you're not the aide Aelin Shear promised. She spoke as if she planned to send a whole squad of soldiers, not one faceless mercenary. Understood. But you wouldn't be the first person that Aelin Shear has used. Most of the time, you don't even know she's doing it. Not that I need any help in my misfortune. You see, all those who involve themselves with me soon face disaster. Such is the fate I have been dealt. The years have been long since I first learned of the means that might deliver Melsen Shear from the Tuatha. It lies in Earl Tusk, beyond a gate fated never to be opened, in a hall awash with Niskaru. Any who seek access to the ruin must face them. For all my years of research, I've only ever found one clue to this puzzle: when the great voices rise in song. It may refer to the wind stones scattered across the plains. They bear a striking resemblance to the stones of this ruin, but that's simply me grasping at answers. Take this chime. It is said to have been taken from the ruin during its construction many centuries ago. I've tried using it on the windstones with no luck. The inscription says the gate will open when the great voices rise in song. I think this means there's one just a little to the south. The wind stones are located all across the plains.
Mindful.